Hello, beautiful damsels. Losing a rare soul is like watching a masterpiece slip through your fingers. You don't realize its value until it's gone. When a man loses a Sigma female, he isn't just losing a partner. He's losing a force of nature, a woman who brought depth, challenge, and a sense of purpose into his life. Sigma females are the type of women who leave a lasting imprint on anyone fortunate enough to cross their path. They're the ones who don't just walk away. They leave a void so profound that it echoes long after they're gone. The regret of losing her doesn't come from the typical heartbreak. It comes from the stark realization that he let something extraordinary slip away. And that's the kind of regret that lingers, growing sharper with time as he understands that what he lost was irreplaceable. This is the story of why men find themselves haunted by the memory of the Sigma female they let go, and why they can't seem to shake the feeling that they've lost something far more valuable than they ever imagined. Number 1. They realize they've lost a partner who never needed them. When a man loses a Sigma female, the first thing that hits him is the realization that she never actually needed him. She wasn't the type to cling or constantly seek reassurance. Her life was already full, her confidence was solid, and her independence was undeniable. She didn't lean on him to fill any emotional voids or to give her life meaning. She was already complete on her own. She chose to be with him not because she needed to, but because she wanted to. And that's the difference. When that choice is gone, when she's no longer in his life, the void left behind isn't just about missing her presence. It's the stark awareness that she was the one person who didn't require anything from him, yet offered everything she had. There's a unique sting in knowing you lost someone who was whole without you, someone who never relied on you for their happiness or identity. Most people who come and go leave some sort of emotional dependency in their wake, but not her. This sudden emptiness forces a man to confront the reality that he wasn't as essential to her as he might have thought. And that's a tough pill to swallow. The regret creeps in, not because he lost someone who needed him, but because he lost someone who didn't. And that rare kind of independence is something he'll struggle to find again. He begins to understand that being wanted, not needed, is infinitely more valuable, and he let that slip away. In her absence, he's left to wrestle with the harsh truth that he lost someone who could stand perfectly tall without him, and now he's the one left feeling off balance. Number 2. Her silence speaks louder than words. When a Sigma female decides she's done, she doesn't make a scene or engage in endless arguments. She simply leaves, and that's where the real impact begins. Her silence is deafening. It's not the kind of quiet that offers peace. It's the kind that haunts. For a man who's lost her, this silence isn't just the absence of noise, it's the absence of her entire presence, and it hits like a ton of bricks. In relationships, people often rely on drama, words, and emotional outbursts to feel alive, to feel connected. But with a Sigma female, there's none of that when she's done. She doesn't linger in the doorframe, waiting for you to chase after her. She doesn't send late-night texts trying to explain her feelings or make you understand her point of view. She just goes, leaving behind nothing but a void that's impossible to ignore. It's in that silence that men start to realize what they've lost. They begin to notice how the conversations that used to challenge them, the calm confidence she exuded, and the unwavering presence she provided, have all vanished. Her silence forces them to confront the fact that she's really gone, and that she's not coming back. It's the kind of quiet that leaves room for regret to grow, as they replay everything they didn't say or do when they had the chance. This is what makes losing a Sigma female so brutal. It's not the initial goodbye that stings the most. It's the days, weeks, and months that follow, filled with an emptiness where her voice used to be. And it's then that they realize how powerful her silence really is, as it continues to echo long after she's gone. Number 3. They miss the challenge she represented. When a man loses a Sigma female, one of the things he regrets most is the loss of the challenge she brought into his life. Sigma females aren't easy to figure out, and they don't just go along with anything for the sake of keeping the peace. They push you to think deeper, to question your assumptions, and to grow beyond your comfort zone. She never let things slide just to avoid conflict, nor did she play along with shallow conversations or superficial behaviors. Instead, she made you work for it, whether it was for her trust, her time, or even her attention. Her presence demanded more from you, not in an exhausting or demeaning way, but in a way that made you want to rise to the occasion. Being with her meant you couldn't stay stagnant. She encouraged growth, whether you realized it or not. She had a way of challenging your intellect, your beliefs, and your actions without ever making you feel inferior. Instead, she inspired you to step up, to be better, and to match her level of depth and understanding. When she's gone, that's when it really hits. The challenge she posed wasn't just about the relationship. It was about pushing you to evolve into a better version of yourself. Without her, you might find that life feels a bit too easy, too predictable, and not nearly as fulfilling. The drive to improve, the mental stimulation, and the personal growth she fostered suddenly disappear, leaving a void that's hard to fill. And it's then that you realize she wasn't just a partner. She was the catalyst for you becoming the person you were meant to be. Losing her means losing that momentum, and the regret that follows is knowing you let go of someone who made you reach higher than you ever thought you could. Number 4. She was the one who saw through their masks. When a man loses a Sigma female, the regret comes from realizing he's lost someone who truly saw him for who he is, beyond the surface. Sigma females have an uncanny ability to see through the masks that people wear, to understand the person underneath all the bravado, the insecurities, and the pretenses. She wasn't fooled by superficial charm or flashy displays. She had the ability to see straight into a man's core, recognizing his strengths and weaknesses in a way that even he might not have fully grasped. This kind of insight is rare and unsettling. It's easy to be with someone who only sees the version of you that you choose to present. But with a Sigma female, there's no hiding. She saw your potential, your flaws, your fears, and she accepted all of it without judgment. She pushed you to confront your true self, not because she wanted to change you, but because she believed you could be more. She didn't settle for the facade. She wanted the real you, and she wasn't afraid to dig deep to find it. When she's gone, that's when the loss really stings. No one else looks at you quite the same way. The masks you wear that once felt comfortable start to feel suffocating, because deep down, you know they're not the real you. The connection you had with her was built on a level of understanding that's hard to replicate. And as time goes on, the regret grows because you start to realize that being truly seen by someone who still chose to stand by you is a rare gift. Without her, you might feel a little more lost, a little more uncertain about who you really are. The person who saw your depths, who recognized your potential and your worth, is no longer there to remind you of it. And that's where the regret lingers, knowing you let go of someone who knew you better than anyone else and who still believed in you, flaws and all. Number 5. She was unimpressed by their status or wealth. When a man loses a Sigma female, one of the most jarring realizations is that she never cared about his status, wealth, or any of the things that most people chase after. In a world where so much revolves around appearances and social standing, she was different. She wasn't impressed by how much money he made, what car he drove, or the circles he moved in. What mattered to her was character, integrity, and the depth of his mind. This is what sets her apart and makes losing her such a profound regret. While others might have been dazzled by the surface, she was the one person who looked beyond it all. She valued authenticity over all else. He could have shown up with nothing but his true self, and that would have been enough for her. There's something disarming, even humbling, about being with someone who sees right through the superficial and connects with you on a level that has nothing to do with material things. Once she's gone, the difference becomes stark. He may find others who are drawn to his success or his lifestyle, but it's never quite the same. Those connections feel shallow in comparison, lacking the depth and sincerity that she brought into his life. The regret comes from knowing he let go of someone who appreciated him for who he was, not what he had. That kind of connection is rare, and once it's gone, he realizes how empty the pursuit of status and wealth can be without someone who values the person behind it all. What he misses most is the sense of being seen and appreciated for the man he truly is, not the image he projects to the world. With her, there was no need to keep up appearances or pretend to be someone he wasn't. She made him feel like he could strip away the masks and just be himself, knowing she would still be there. And now, without her, he's left chasing something that feels increasingly hollow, regretting that he lost the one person who saw his true worth without the trappings of success. Number 6, her absence reveals their own weaknesses. When a man loses a Sigma female, he quickly realizes how profoundly she respected his independence. Unlike others who might try to control or cling, she valued personal space and autonomy as much as she valued connection. She never suffocated him with constant demands for attention or tried to mold him into someone he wasn't. Instead, she gave him the freedom to be himself, to pursue his interests, and to maintain his individuality within the relationship. This kind of respect is rare and often goes unnoticed until it's no longer there. After she's gone, he starts to notice how different things are with other people. Suddenly, the freedom he took for granted feels stifled by expectations and emotional dependency. Where she once encouraged him to grow and explore, others might seek to tie him down or change him. It's in this contrast that he begins to regret losing her deeply. She understood that real love isn't about possession or control. It's about two people choosing to walk together while still maintaining their own identities. She knew how to balance closeness with distance, how to give him space without ever making him feel alone. This delicate balance is something he might not find again so easily. As time passes, he starts to miss the way she never questioned his need for solitude, never made him feel guilty for having his own life outside of the relationship. She wasn't threatened by his independence. She celebrated it. The regret gnaws at him because he knows now that what they had was unique, built on mutual respect and trust, without the typical pressures and insecurities that can weigh down other relationships. Losing her means losing the freedom to be himself within a partnership that was both empowering and liberating. And that's a loss that's hard to come to terms with. Number 7, they miss the depth of her conversations. When a man loses a Sigma female, he soon realizes that she wasn't just a lover or a friend. She was his greatest confidant. With her, he found someone who listened without judgment, who understood his unspoken fears, and who never used his vulnerabilities against him. She was the one person he could open up to without fear of being misunderstood or ridiculed. Her strength wasn't just in her independence. It was in her ability to hold space for his emotions, to be there for him in ways that no one else could. This is where the regret sinks in deepest. After she's gone, he finds that sharing his thoughts and feelings isn't as easy with others. The world suddenly feels more isolating, more guarded, because no one else seems to understand him quite the way she did. He misses the quiet moments where he could be completely himself, stripped of all pretense, knowing she would accept him just as he was. With her, there were no games, no manipulations, just raw, honest connection. The realization that he let go of someone who was genuinely in his corner, someone who had his back in a way that few others ever will, is a heavy burden to bear. It's not just about losing a partner. It's about losing the person who made him feel truly seen. Number 8, she was unapologetically herself. When a man loses a Sigma female, one of the hardest things to come to terms with is the realization that she was his anchor in a world full of noise and chaos. She wasn't just there to share in the good times. She was the one who brought a sense of calm and clarity when everything else seemed to be spinning out of control. Her presence had a grounding effect. She had this unique ability to cut through the nonsense and focus on what truly mattered, often providing a perspective that helped him see things in a way no one else could. After she's gone, that stability is suddenly missing. The world feels more overwhelming, more chaotic, because the person who once helped him navigate through the mess is no longer there. Others might offer advice, but it never carries the same weight. She was different. She had a way of simplifying the complex, of making the seemingly impossible feel manageable. Without her, life feels more uncertain, more difficult to manage. He starts to realize that she wasn't just someone he could lean on. She was the person who helped him keep his balance when everything else was pulling him in different directions. The regret comes from understanding that he lost someone who provided not just emotional support but a deeper sense of direction and purpose. She was the calm in the storm, the voice of reason when everything else was chaotic. Losing her means losing that sense of security, that feeling of being centered, and that's something he knows he may never find again. The regret lingers because he let go of someone who was more than just a partner. She was his compass, guiding him through life's uncertainties with a strength and wisdom that are irreplaceable. Number 9. She never played the damsel in distress. When a man loses a Sigma female, he quickly discovers that her departure leaves a void that no one else seems able to fill, not just because of what she was to him, but because of what she represented. She wasn't just another face in the crowd, she was a beacon of something rare and valuable. She embodied a unique blend of independence, strength, and authenticity that's hard to come by. Her presence was magnetic, not because she tried to impress, but because she was simply herself, unapologetically and powerfully. In her absence, he realizes the magnitude of her rarity. It's not just that he misses her, it's that he understands he's lost someone who is genuinely exceptional. The regret intensifies as he encounters others who might try to fill the space she left behind, but fall short. They might be lovely, kind, or even interesting, but they don't possess the same rare qualities that made her stand out. Her departure forces him to confront the stark reality that finding someone who matches her level of depth and integrity is nearly impossible. It's like trying to replace a one-of-a-kind masterpiece with a mass-produced print. The comparison becomes painfully obvious. He starts to see that her uniqueness wasn't just in her traits, but in how those traits came together to create someone who was irreplaceable. This recognition of her exceptional nature brings with it a profound sense of loss. He's left with the knowledge that he let go of something truly special, and that realization deepens the regret. It's the kind of regret that's not just about missing a person, but about understanding the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity he had and let slip through his fingers. Number 10. They underestimated her value until she was gone. When a man loses a Sigma female, he's often struck by a devastating truth. Her departure reveals just how much he relied on her for a sense of emotional stability and guidance. She wasn't just a partner. She was a rock, a sounding board, and a source of wisdom that anchored him through the highs and lows of life. Her ability to offer insightful advice without judgment or bias was something he took for granted until she was gone. Her presence provided more than just comfort. It offered clarity in moments of confusion and strength when he felt vulnerable. She had a knack for understanding situations from angles he couldn't see and offered perspectives that often led to personal growth. Without her, he's left grappling with decisions and emotions that seem more overwhelming and uncertain. The void she leaves isn't just about the absence of a person, it's about the loss of a unique source of support and insight. Others might try to fill the gap, but they lack the same depth of understanding and intuitive guidance she offered. He's left navigating life without the compass she provided, and the regret grows as he realizes how integral she was to his emotional well-being. It's not just the day-to-day support he misses, but the profound impact she had on his personal growth and self-awareness. The regret deepens as he understands that losing her means losing the rare kind of guidance that helped him make sense of his world. He's left to confront the painful truth that the emotional stability she brought into his life is irreplaceable. And the realization of what he lost is both overwhelming and heart-wrenching. If you found this exploration of why men regret losing Sigma females insightful, don't miss out on more compelling content. Subscribe to the channel for deep dives into unique perspectives, intriguing analyses, and thought-provoking discussions. Join us on this journey and stay tuned for more content that challenges conventional thinking and offers fresh insights. Your subscription means you won't miss a moment of our exploration into the fascinating dynamics of relationships and personal growth. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.